Resident Evil is one of those series that never really leaves you. Even after years, I still remember certain moments. Opening a door slowly, hearing something moved behind me, not knowing if I'm ready or not for the other side. With RE Requiem getting closer, I've been thinking a lot about what made this series feel so special in the first place. Not just the action or the story, but the feeling it gave you when you played it. The atmosphere, the quiet tension that followed you everywhere. If it's your first time here, hey, I'm Trace. If you love games, all kind of games, you're in the right place. So relax, take it easy, let's get back into it. So my first point is bringing back the horror atmosphere again. I'm not saying the game should remove action or slow it down. If you guys played RA Village, you will know what I'm talking about right now. I really hope it leans more into horror or atmospheric horror again. Not just jump scares, but atmosphere. The quiet moment where nothing is happening, but you feel unease. The sound design, the lighting, the feeling that something could be waiting just around the corner. That's the kind of tension that made the older games feel so memorable. It's the same kind of tension that made the series get back on its feet with RE7. The sense of being vulnerable is what made Resident Evil different from other games. You were not in control. You were limited on resources after every fight. You were not always ready. And that's what made it exciting. The next point is finding the real balance. The series has always had this really good balance between horror and action in the older games. RE8 had amazing moments, great visuals and a good story, but you could feel it moving more towards action, like much more. So I don't think it's a hot take when I say RE8 had a real balancing issue between horror and action. RE7, however, did the opposite. Well, kind of, because there was some good action, but a really good and amazing horror. So the balancing was not that screwed, at least for me. So if RE9 can find that middle ground again, and if Capcom really learned from their past two games' mistakes, I think the series will be at its best with this new title. So my third point is the gameplay itself. A big part of the series' success comes from how the gameplay is designed. Resident Evil works best when every decision matters. I would like to see less ammo, more depth into the gameplay. You have to think before you act. I think the last two games were too much forgiving, if I can say so, more than they needed it to be. Someone might say, well, just play on hard mode, you dumb idiot. Here's the thing. Most players play on normal mode, and for the last two games it was so freaking easy. It can be boring sometimes. And I think making it that easy is a bad habit for the players, if you know what I mean. I don't want it to feel like a consistent shooting. I want those moments where you hesitate before opening a door. Just like the classics. You are not sure if gambling all your bullets or running between the enemies is the better solution. They both sound scary. You might need to come back, you might not find any bullet, or you might die if you just go through them. And I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but that feeling of tension is what made Resident Evil the greatest horror game of all time. And my fourth point is Leon versus Grace. I think I'm stating the obvious here, but when you play as Leon, everything should feel more controlled. His movement, his aim, even the way he's reacting to danger. Even his health should be better than Grace's health. But when we switch to Grace, the feeling should change. The same hallway, the same environment, I know, but now it feels more tense, slower, maybe uncertain. She should feel scared. Because she's not Leon Kennedy, she doesn't have this whole experience. She wasn't on Raccoon City when everything started. I think this is a must if we want a balance in this game. In a simpler words, Leon is the action. Grace, on the other hand, is the tension and horror. The next point is Raccoon City. No matter where the story goes, it's hard not to think about Raccoon City. Even after all these years, it still feels like the heart of the whole series. Even though I don't want it to be, as they say, it's like an open world game where you can go and move around Raccoon City wherever and whenever you want. Maybe something like the older games. And now I'm just repeating myself, I know, but there were like semi-open world games. You can visit the old areas, but not always. I think that's more like Resident Evil. And I'm just so excited. I just want to see how they will remake it again. Actually, Capcom never disappoints when it comes to visuals and structures or even art style. I keep saying older games, but I really don't mind change. But change in a way that keeps the series identity. Actually, it's my next point, which is change. One thing I've always respected about Capcom that it's never afraid to change. Every few games it becomes something new. New perspective, new idea, new style, and somehow it still feels like Resident Evil. Well, not always. But you're picking up what I'm putting down, right? Even if it is risky, they're never afraid to change. They always try something new. And so that is the thing. We don't know for sure what our Requiem will look like, just based on the trailers. And that makes it really exciting to just wait and see. The game will actually drop in 3 to 2 days. I don't know when I will upload this video. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts, guys. What the game should focus on so it excels our expectation and really succeed more than ever. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, it really helps more than you think. Trace was here. As always, see you in the next video.